Yeah.
Yeah, trendsetter. Whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center. Hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, there's no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no dip.
Boom! Guys, I feel weird tonight.
Why?
How do you feel weird, Mike?
I honestly don't even think I should be speaking, and I don't think Kay should be speaking. We've eliminated DeVito so much that he dropped out of the podcast tonight. Like, what? DeVito's done. He texted us. He's resigned. He's retired. Pete, you had a loser leaves town match that came to fruition. Congratulations, my numero uno.
Yeah. What's up, losers?
My favorite thing about it is, one, you're not in fourth place anymore, even though you told us about 100 times that you were in fourth place. And two,
no, it's because I got edged out on Monday Night Football by like 3 points. Yeah. I'm thankful for 5th place.
You've gone so fast from Case gets his one title to every text I send makes Case feel like I don't like him anymore. Welcome back, Pete.
Thank you.
A Pete on top is better than a Pete on the bottom. That should be the title of this episode. But I think it should be called Seeing Orange.
Episode somebody makes this league a little interesting.
Hey. That's what we're all here for, buddy. Episode 105. Season 4. 2 weeks in, got some good stuff to recap. DeVito is genuinely not coming, I don't believe. He texted us his picks already, so he might be done. Do you feel okay about that, Pete? You've ended DeVito's career.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't count his picks anymore. I'm done with him. How bad of a draft was that? Like, it is affected. It has gone into week 3 now. Like, he doesn't even want to show face anymore.
He's not even here. He gets the biggest blowout of the week. AJ Brown's out. Tyreek is done. He's lost it.
Get that pool sealed, Steve. Yeah, go figure out something bigger. Yep.
Case, new position tonight. We're not laying down.
No, it didn't work last week.
Would your wife kick you out?
Can't be as relaxed. No, I'm in the same room, just a different spot.
A new haircut.
Yeah, haircut.
You do that yourself, or do you go to a salon?
No, I wouldn't go to a salon for this either way.
Hey, somebody put that.
No. Half price.
I buzz my own head. I buzz my own head, and then my wife lines up my my back.
Oh, there you go. Pete, was that lemonade or blueberry lemonade?
That's love. Lemonade and vodka.
Those are delicious. Those are my go-tos. We should be sponsored. We should try to get Surfside as a sponsor.
Shout out.
Shout out to Surfside. All right, ready to talk some recaps, baby?
Yeah, sure.
All right, week 2, the week of DeLuca. So, Pete, give us all these stats, see if we can guess some things. I'm sure you have some sort of video montage of yourself ready to go, because I can see some stupid grin on your face. Go ahead, take it away.
No, I don't have anything planned. The boom of the week goes to me. What up? 161. It was bottom 10 all time. So sorry about that. It was a really bad one as far as booms are concerned. But money's already spent, so thank you for that. I'm actually minus 10. Yeah, minus 10. I need another $10.
What'd you spend it on?
What's that?
What'd you spend it on?
Medicine. Next, so top 10. You guys want to know the top 10 all time?
Let's go.
All right, top 10 all time booms. Number 1, Davida and Kaleli. Don't forget, you guys are tied at 12.
Well, this pace, it'll be 12 at the end of the season. Sorry, go ahead.
This one moved in. This one moved me into a tie for second place with Innes at 9. So me and Innes both tied at 9, and then DeVito and Casey at 5. So, and the rest of you losers are down there with like 1 or 2 or whatever. I gotta say, Spates had 2 booms last season. I said he only boomed once. Spates had 2 booms. Larkin's still end of the wagon there with only 1.
Solo boom.
Beast of the week.
I don't watch enough football to know. I'm not going to be able to guess that. No. Wrong. Justin Jefferson had a 99-yard touchdown. It's got to be him.
That was going deep. Come on, get the categories right.
Oh, what did I say?
It's week 2.
Beast of the week's Kamara. Kamara had 55 points.
Kamara, 53 points. The performance was 12th all time since we started taking track of these. So it was a big time performance. Just see, like, you got to know, like, you got to be over 55 to break the top 10 in all these all-time performances. So incredible. 53 was pretty good for Kamara.
How many players are on that list more than once? Tyreek's got to be.
1 second. Tyreek Hill is on there 4 times. Dalvin Cook is on there 3 times. Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson and Lamar Jackson are on there 3 times.
Dalvin Cook is on there 3 times?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Can you believe that? Going deep.
I had a bunch of those guys for a while. She got nothing to show for it.
Going deep.
God.
Longest play.
Jefferson. Sorry.
Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson. You nailed it. Look, so we can look at that. So there you go. Jefferson. Jefferson had 97 yards. That was the second longest play that we've been doing. There have been 2 98-yard plays since I've been keeping track of these. So Jefferson with a 97-yarder, that was pretty good. Mike, I know that you're always curious about scoring average. So week 1, the scoring average is 129. Week 2, it was 132.
Wow.
And the magic number seems to be 136. Teams that score 136 are 8-0.
I like that. I feel like it's still been a weird year of football.
Very weird.
There's not many good quarterbacks anymore.
You know what's interesting when you look at the scoring? Our scoring is down from last year.
Yep.
However, there are less big performances by individual teams. So the scoring is not very far down, but every single team is actually scoring. It's kind of like even out a little bit more.
We're dealing with the moat. Was it not the moat? Closer to the mean, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Closer to the mean. Compressed mean, I think they call it in algebra.
It's a squished box and scatter plot.
Can you believe you guys just thought that compressed mean is a math term? Of course, I don't know what I mean. But yes, the mean. The mean is gone close. Do you think anybody would have guessed that Kevin Breen would be the only person over 300 points after the first 2 weeks?
No.
I think we may be changing our tune on Kevin, but let's get to Kevin on that segue. Our number 1 team last week, our number 1 team this week, against our now 0-2 defending champs. Pete, give us the recap.
Yeah. Breen beats Casey 159-129. I picked Casey as my upset, so Breen making me look bad 2 weeks in a row. That was not fun. Breen, it was the 3rd highest score of the year, so he has the highest score of the year. He doesn't have number 2, but he's got number 3. He was 2 points away from the boom, though, so honestly, like 2 huge performances from Breen back-to-back after saying that he sucked. Casey, you're probably going to talk about inconsistent QBs and poor QB plays and piston moan, all about that. But the truth is, Breen has the same exact problems as Casey. He had Waddle, who had Tua, and Tua got knocked out cold. He had Reed, and who had Love, and Love got knocked out of the game. But he's countered it with talented players. He has Nico Collins, who's with Stroud. He has Marvin Harrison, who's with Kyler. His stack didn't hit because it melted in Miami, some would say. I'm just throwing that out there. Melted in the Miami.
Fierce moon heat.
Under that fierce heat. And Breen was still able to win. So I think Breen might be legit.
All right, Case, I'm going to give you what I think your 3 biggest problems are. Rank them for me. Your quarterback room stinks. Your top players have gotten injured. Your depth has dried up very quickly. What's those problems? What's the biggest? What's the smallest level of concern?
Quarterback, first concern. Then
care to elaborate?
Well, yeah, I can't. I mean, one guy's walking around the booth, the other guy's got a bad knee, and the other guy lost his number one and number 2 receiver, and he's getting smashed behind that offensive line right now. So can't get anything done.
One of the previous podcasts, you talked about how it's a copycat league, and the champion has to have 3 quarterbacks. What's going on with this?
That was more of a draft day topic with the guy that doesn't value quarterbacks not being present. Everybody drafting him to stick it to him. Bit.
So if that's number 1, what's number 2?
All my guys hurt.
Yeah. So what do you? I agree on the quarterback. You didn't pick anybody up on quarterback yet. You're going back to Stafford this week.
I haven't honestly looked at my roster at all this week. I'm trying to do approach where I just kind of go wait till the last minute and throw guys in there, see what happens. I haven't looked at it this week. I think if Herbert's healthy, I probably will throw him in there.
I mean, you got Darian coming up. You might go 0-3.
I mean, the way you're speaking about your team, you deserve to go 0-3.
Are you ready for this? You might be
throwing in Powell.
Try to stay in focus here. The one concern that I don't have is I lost in week 1 by less than a point.
Win now counts the same as a win later.
I know this week I lost, but I was close to the mean, as Pete elaborated on. Pete's big on points. I have the most points against of anybody in the league, so hopefully that will even out as we will go forward. So I'm sort of right in the middle in terms of points scored. So even with some of these lackluster performances, I'm still right in the middle, which I think speaks to the talent on my roster, if you will. Just need to get a little bit more consistency.
Yada, yada, yada. You're quitting on the season already. Got it. Pete, I'm very impressed with Kevin's team. Last week we said he boomed. Harrison had a bad week. Harrison has a big week. Waddle does. His team's pretty good, dude. Like I don't know what to say. He might contend for a title.
I saw Thursday Night Football. I saw Pete's Moon Heat affect Josh Allen, where we weren't having any issues. And I'm sitting there at the 10 spot saying, I have this thing in the bag. And then
I mean,
I just teed up.
No one's even talking to him.
I teed up Pete. I teed him up, and you just jumped in. You didn't even say anything. Take it, Pete.
I had to find the mute button on it. Jeez. Mike, what did you ask?
I just said I think Kevin's team's pretty good, and I think you contend for a title. I think. Just give me your analysis on what's going on.
I mean, geez, I'm kind of thrown. No, I think I agree with you that it is deep. I do not think it is as deep as other contending teams, however. So I do think the first place is going to be short-lived. However, earned right away. I mean, he is averaging over 160 points. That is way more than the next closest team. So
my favorite player on his team at the moment is becoming a stalwart is Nico Collins. If you told me Nico Collins was going to be a top 5 fantasy receiver, and he's got Allen every week as the best quarterback, Nico Collins is the number 1 target, and then Ramondre's running 25 a game. You've got all that. He's going to be tough down the stretch. And if Nick Chubb gets healthy, he's got an end of the season potential dart throw of someone who can help his roster compete.
I don't know if it's just the jersey, but Nico Collins looks like Andre Johnson to me. Like he looks like enormous.
I think he's skinnier.
Oh my God. He looks like a beast.
He's huge though, dude. Nico Collins is massive. Case, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm in trouble.
Good time to hope.
Thanks, Brad. Second game. Speaking of tall, Spates was our number 2 seed. Took down Andy, our number 9 seed. Case's bottom buddy. Let's get the recap from you. Spates, a good win at 154 this week.
Yeah, Spates 154 to 110. I picked Andy as my blowout, so I think I'm all done doing that. Spates, he put up the 4th highest score in the league. We talked about how Bree just put up the 3rd highest. That was basically mostly due to Neighbors being able to expose himself against the Commanders. That sounds a lot dirtier than I meant it to sound. Not much.
Did you write it that way?
No, I didn't write any. I'm looking at like stupid bullets that I wrote. On the one bright side for Andy, in a week where everybody had injuries, the kid has a roster where not one person got injured. So good for him. Honestly, I don't know how that even happens.
Way to go, Ange. Case, I'm going to have to talk about Space's team a little bit. So he's going to be dealing now with his first potentially 2 major injuries. I'm actually not counting Tua. He was smart to let go of Tua. Tua's off his roster. We're not going to comment on if he should play in the NFL anymore. Debo, we knew he'd get injured. Joe Mixon appears to be injured. So we talked a lot about Space's depth. Do you think he has the type of roster to sustain some of these injuries? And give us where your feelings are on CJ, who's currently our number 2 team in the league.
I do. He's done a nice job constructing his roster. If you even look at his bench this past week, put up 154 points and had 20 points out of Brian Robinson on the bench, nearly 20 out of Zach Charbonnet, which is a nice insurance policy for Walker being slowed up, and Rashid Shaheed, another 25 spots. So he's got some. I think Robinson's sort of a high floor player. We talked about him last week. He can sub him in there and feel good about that one for one of those guys. He's getting a couple deep ball looks every week, so chance to sort of cash in on our point system for yards and receiving touchdowns for our wide receiver friends. So I think he can sustain this better than some other teams because there's some injuries across the board for all of our teams except for Andy. So
the toe and the tie are in a little bit of trouble here. The tie is in trouble because the Chiefs don't look as prolific as they have looked. And I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to get 40 touches a game. I'll be curious what Andy does. His roster's gotten pretty old as well. And so the title contentions that he had for the last couple of years, he now sees an aging Travis Kelce, an aging Josh Jacobs, an aging Derrick Henry. It's an interesting question if he doesn't win this week, if he starts to think about turning the page and acquiring draft picks, which he doesn't like, or at least trying to get some youth on his roster. But we'll see. Andy likely won't make any moves. So we'll see if he can get lucky. But a good win by Spates is where I would take it. Pete, anything else to add? If we move on to game 3?
Yep.
Game 3, my 2 favorite people in the league. Myself, third. I guess Jeff's like 5, actually. 7. I don't know. Innes and I was unbelievably confident that I had a win after the Thursday night Heat Bowl. And then Alvin Kamara did that, and Anthony Richardson did not. So give us the recap, Pete. Jeff took me down quite easily.
Yeah, 149 to 117. I can keep this one quick. Kamara was the difference, as we talked about having a top 12 performance since we started tracking these since 2020. So good for him. I feel like it happened quick. I sat down maybe Sunday afternoon. It was already like not only was it 3 touchdowns, but it happened very, very quickly. At what point did you realize your week was over?
Before the 4:00 games got on. I mean, every time I only have Red Zone. Every time the TV was on, I was out back. We have white shutters. I was washing them. I had a little mold or something on the side. So not mold, whatever. And so I had the TV on. I had the headphones screaming to the TV, and they were like, "And let's go back to this Saints game." And I was like, "What?" Every single play was Alvin Kamara. I knew pretty quickly, and then I knew I was in trouble because the only life I felt like I had was Case's best friend Anthony Richardson, and he looked awful. And so after he did nothing, after the Colts couldn't score, and I knew after the 1:00 games I didn't have a chance.
Yeah. I think that you have I think there's a problem with the end of your roster there. I think it's a little thin. And,
ditto. And they're all hurt.
It's getting exposed. Whereas on the other hand, Jeffrey's got that girth, he's got that room to have some extra players at the end there. I think he's a little stacked. He's ready for the
thing he has, and he and I were texting, quite cordial per usual, Jeff. The J.K. Dobbins pick at the moment, if he can stay healthy, I know that's a big asterisk. He was the bottom of his roster. He still hasn't had a good week out of Tank Dell. I don't know what's going on with the Pittsburgh offense, but when you have a guy who's going to get somewhere between 15 and 20 touches on an offense that wants to run the ball, you can really slot Dobbins as one of his top 5 guys. And his top end, even without McCaffrey, it's still good because he can play Mason behind him. His team's pretty good. Jeff's got a pretty good team, pretty solid roster. Case, do you want to apologize today?
No, good rebound for Innes. I was actually just looking at that. J.K. Dobbins picked in the 3rd round is yielding some big results for him. Guys like Darnell Mooney, Pete picked Rico Dowdell, Zach Moss. I picked Mario Douglas and Xavier Legette. Like, good draft by Innes in the 3rd, getting some value. That guy's off to an awesome start.
Would you trade him?
Who? I would trade for him.
You would. Yeah. You would be.
I'll trade for him. Yeah. I need some help.
Hey, Pete, you know what our segment should be next week when we do the recaps is who would you trade first? Any game we recap, Pete goes, I'd trade that guy.
Yeah, and it's in a heartbeat.
Pick the best player to score the highest in the week, and that's who Pete wants to move.
Yeah, no one is safe. You're lucky you're not getting cut.
I remember last year after I picked up Puka in the first, literally I picked him up after the first week. The next day you were like, hey, you should trade Puka. I was like, what do you want to trade? I just picked him up.
You should. All right.
Well, let's go to game number 4. We got Larkin. We got D'Adarian. This one was tight, came down to the end, but ultimately Lloyd pulled it out. So, Pete, give us the recap. Larkin stays off the schneid, gets off the schneid, and takes down D'Adarian.
Yeah, the game went pretty much as projected. Larkin was only 1 point off of his projected point, so good for him. Christian really back-to-back bad games from Wilson and Pittman. I'm a little nervous about those two. But next week he has a chance to put Casey back to 0-3, which would be fun. I still think he probably start those guys. There's really not much you can do in this league, right?
I'm a little worried about the bottom of the D'Adarian starting lineup after this week. Pittman as someone who follows the Colts quite closely, he doesn't get enough. Like Richardson doesn't even know how to throw the ball straight. So like if you don't go deep, which Pittman doesn't do, you're in trouble. White is hurt. I don't know what you do with the Bills offense. I actually think D'Darian's in a relatively shaky spot with the bottom of that roster. And Hurts has been good. And so he likes to make moves. So he made a good waiver priority and outbid a couple guys this past week. So maybe he can start the backup running back for the Jets. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about that? What happened there?
Why did he bid 100? Do you think he clicked it wrong?
I was gonna say, he meant to put in 10 and hit one too many zeros.
All right. For those who aren't cued in on what's going on, we have waiver wire clears through on this morning, so we get to see what everyone bids, and then you get to see who goes to what teams, but then you get to see who bid what. And Christian bid $100 on a guy that no one else bid $1 on.
I would love to get his perspective on that. I don't know why he did that.
No comment.
Case, give us the readout on the Red Room, buddy. He went back to Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to continue to say Trevor Lawrence stinks and shouldn't be a starting quarterback in fantasy football. The top guys on his flex position are 4 of the best. With CD every week, Brees every week, Drake, London showed up. So I'll put Jamar Chase in that spot and Rashee Rice. Like, his team's pretty solid. He did well to get out of the winless bucket, but give us your readout on Lloyd.
Yeah, probably good exhale for Lloyd, getting back to even. I think he's got to enjoy the Rashee Rice play right now because Kelsey's not getting all the attention, and Rashee's been a little bit consistent here in the early going. Hopefully that continues for him because that deepens him up a little bit. I'd watch for Drake London and Kirk Cousins. I think that's an interesting developing potential there because Drake's probably been hurt by inconsistent quarterback play to this point. If there was a high-end receiver coming out, like he might have his quarterback now to help him get some consistency. I'm
excited to preview Lloyd because he's got a bench guy that I really like too. But speaking of a guy I really like, my numero uno, the upset of the season, the blowout of the week, DeVito wearing his orange-colored glasses and can't see straight. Pete, give us the recap.
I mean, what do you really want to talk about here? My 9th all-time boom. The team is rather top-heavy, which I think is kind of a trend since DeVito won the Super Bowl in 2022. You kind of have your quarterback and maybe 1, 2, or 3 studs. You see a lot of people doing a stack and then kind of filling in the rest. I was lucky enough that DK and Godwin hit, and Kyler looked like amazing. I loved him running around doing the whole thing. And there it was. Took Steve out. I told you I could do it. In your face, Yahoo. 1-14. Here we come.
Pete, when Tyreek threw up a stink bomb on Thursday, did you think you were going to win?
I thought there was more of a chance. Once I started seeing the probables and the outs come out for AJ Brown and the other guy, who was the other one? Keenan Allen. Once I start those guys to fall out, he started reaching. I already thought it was a reach to play Likely and Andrews, and it turned out that the Ravens game was a huge flop. So a lot of things fell my way, although still boomed.
Hey,
booty.
Isn't Kyler the best?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You want him?
I miss him so much.
You want him?
I'm watching. I got both. I got Arizona, Kyler running around. He's throwing balls on the money, and I got Anthony Richardson throwing like the 15th row. And I'm like, why did I do this? I always do this.
Look at that quarterback room, Mike. Your quarterback room could use him.
No. I got a deep quarterback room. I'm good.
The best quarterback room in the league.
Case,
if you want him, he's available.
Do you think? I'll make a statement, so I won't put you on the spot. I think DeVito has no chance of making the playoffs.
Ooh.
0.
I would concur with that.
Do you think he's going to make a move to try to salvage the future because he doesn't have picks either?
Yeah, no. I think he's in a tough spot. There's not a lot of future assets to sell off, and I don't know if he's got any real tradable assets on his roster to add to the guys that he needs to play. Like, unless he's looking to, flip Tyreek and get somebody that wants one guy and will give up some assets that makes him competitive now and it somehow works out. I don't think he's got a ton of maneuver to improve the depth of his starting roster. So he might be looking to move out.
The scary part too with Tyreek and AJ Brown, obviously his best weapons. No one has any idea what Miami's offense is going to look like. and no one has any idea when AJ Brown is coming back. I read today he might be out for 4 weeks, and so it's like the value guys that he's going to trade Mark Andrews, who they don't even know if he's the best tight end in Baltimore. To go from 2 title losses to where we are today is a pretty big downfall for Team DeVito. Big.
Yeah.
Big downfall.
I didn't pick him as a playoff team, but you got to remember, it's back to school season. He's adjusting his schedule. It's also hockey season has just started. He's got to figure out a couple things.
Us in the mornings too.
Exactly. The good thing about Steve is he will be an active manager even though he is out of it. But I don't know.
Pete's right. Like Pete's right. If he's not, he's a guy. I guess relative to the top, he's a guy that if he's not in it, he's going to do something this year to shake up this year how it plays out, and then set himself up for hopefully a quick return next year. Should he go that route, he's not going to just sit on his hands and let this whole thing play out. Steve's going to be involved, and nobody picked him on the pod, not even himself, to make the playoffs. So maybe he saw this coming. It's part of his big plan.
He's always
got plans. He is. He's involved, like the PTA and coaching. He's involved. Yeah.
He's got plans. Well, Case, you mentioned,
but that's that window closing on Steve.
Thanks, Brian. We talked about picks there. No one picked DeVito over the playoffs. Give us the recap on our week 2 picks. How'd the team do? Did we beat Chat GPT?
You have to go back to week 8 of last year to find out that this is the worst performance by the pod. We went 4 total wins, and Mike, you were the only one to outperform the Chat GPT by going 2 and 3. Yep. Pete went winless. Pete went 0-5 again.
Even ChatGPT sucked. Don't give me that.
Wow.
So last year in week 8, we had the pod history of the lowest wins with 4 picked correctly. Pete that week also went 0-5. So anytime Pete goes 0-5, the pod does terrible with their picks.
See, I lead this crowd.
Yeah. The only pick that ChatGPT had correctly was the Breen lock versus me. And everyone picked me with some sort of superlative against ChatGPT. So that's the only one that he had right.
Terrible.
Or it had right.
That's impressive.
And ChatGPT is the only one that got a superlative as well. We all went 0-3 on the superlatives. ChatGPT got the lock from Breen. So
that's impressively bad, but I do think it has a lot to do with the parity that we currently have in the league. There's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of teams kind of mixed up. I'm not that surprised that we've seen that much influx. We'll see how much it evolves week to week. We got a great one this week, though, as our game of the week, as we get into our week 3 previews. Coming to us again from the top of the standings, the number 1 seed for back-to-back weeks. Kevin Breen takes on the preseason pod number 1 seed, our current 3 seed, Jeff Innes. Pete, give us the preview.
What do you mean preseason pod number 1?
Everybody picked them to make the Super Bowl.
I think your hand motions are the things that make you go out of focus.
We're talking my hands. I can't do anything about that. Want me to take my shirt off?
I mean, it's already halfway there. Jeez.
No. I pulled it up.
You Hefner over here.
I pulled it up.
You want a pipe? Yeah. All right.
You want to get the plant? You want me to get the plant?
No. He puts a grotto in his basement. Okay. Breen, number 1 in standings, number 1 in scoring. Innes, number 3 in standings, number 3 in scoring. Wow. Innes swept him last year, 2-0. Breen, of course, didn't have a great year. That was in week 14 and week 13, and week 4 and week 13, excuse me. And Innes handled him really bad, so it wasn't even really close. There's a Monday Night Football doubleheader this week, just so you guys know. And I hate that. You guys hate that? I hate that. Why do they do that?
I don't get why they do that. And why do they make 12 games at 1 o'clock on Sunday? Can we spread them out a little bit? Go 8 and 7 or something. I can't handle it.
I don't mind that ones. As long as they're
help Scott Hansen out too. That 4 o'clock window is tough with only 3 games.
I gotta listen to Brady. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Is he doing bad or not? I haven't watched the game.
He's not been good.
Why not? Is everyone just going to be mean to him, or is he really bad?
No, he just says talking points. He's not.
I think he's a little robotic. And did you guys hear he can't say certain things because he's trying to become part owner of
Correct.
Raiders. So he's limited in what he can even say. He can't criticize teams or referees, which makes that job extremely hard to do.
Very hard. Very hard.
Or at least make it entertaining to do,
I got to watch the next game that he's on. Okay, so Buffalo at home against Jacksonville. I did my research and made sure I had these right this time. I think that one's going to be the big game. Jacksonville allowed Watson. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. They made Deshaun Watson look like an actual capable quarterback last week. And in week 1, they played Miami, and they were the only defense to not give Tua a concussion, which is pathetic. So they're weak. Marvin Harrison versus Detroit is going to be a big one for Breen. Stevenson against the Jets, I also feel, is going to be one that will carry him. So I am going to pick Breen, and no superlatives there.
Wow. Case, Breen got off to a hot start with mixed stars on his team. First week, Josh Allen, Nico Collins. Second week, Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison. Do you see someone on Breen's roster that presents more boomability, and how do you stack up who he has with your pick?
It's interesting. Like, I don't know outside of those two. I mean, Jalen Reed in week 1 was the big surprise.
Yep.
I don't think Waddle in Seattle. I think that pass even is pretty good. Those corners are pretty good after seeing him against the Pats. Not that the Pats offense is good, but like those corners are legit. So I think that
who's the quarterback in Miami?
Correct. So Waddle up there.
Wait. Hold on. Can we talk about this for a second?
Is it Tyler Huntley?
Yeah. So they signed Tyler Huntley from the Ravens practice squad, and he might start this weekend. And Huntley can ball out if he's in that offense.
Dude, if it's Tyler Huntley, I love Miami.
I love that. Okay. Anyway.
No, so boomability, I think it's come from the same places. I think it's Marvin Harrison. I think it's Nico Collins. I think it's Josh Allen. I like Innis this week. I think it's I think you can bank on some more consistency out of Innis's roster. And I think I'm looking at the LA Rams and San Francisco game. I almost feel like that's going to be a battle of rushing offenses relative to where their offenses are at. Debo's out. San Francisco wants to run the ball anyways. Mason's a huge play. And then the Rams got nothing left on the outside. So I think it's going to be a Kyron versus Mason, and I'll take Innis in that matchup.
How many points do you think Innis needs to be up after Sunday? Breen's the only guy with Monday night, and he's at the moment playing, and I'm guessing he sticks with the Buffalo stack.
I think, Mike, that's a great call. I think if it's a Shakir touchdown or a Shakir deep ball, I think that's how Breen sneaks up and gets him, because I think he'll be up by 40, 45, and that might be the only way that he gets him. Allen goes for 30 and cashes in on one Shakir deep ball that gets him to 20, and that's his key to victory.
Yeah, the game that you guys didn't mention that I think is the key to this one when I look at it is I think one of the best units that I've seen play football this year is that Pittsburgh defense. And that's kind of come at the disservice of Pittsburgh's offense. Like, Pickens hasn't been very good. Dobbins has been good, but they haven't gone against the defense like the Steelers. If that one is 10-9, 13-10, like something like that, and Innis has two key protagonists in a game that's going to be ugly just because those teams both want to play ugly, I worry a little bit about Jeff's team. I'm surprisingly going Kevin. I just look at his roster and I'm like, I don't see a ton of holes. And sure, Ridley, sure, Waddle, like, may not have big plays, but like, they're one play away. I think Kevin's team's they're so much better than I expected them to be 3 weeks ago. I'm going to give them a little bit of respect. I don't think I've picked them yet this year. I'm going to take Kevin. I'm not going to lock it. I'm not going to boom it. I'm not going to upset it, but I think Kev's my pick. And that game that Jeff has with Pickens and Dobbins, I worry about it.
Yeah, if Marvin Harrison can keep it going, Marvin Harrison Jr. can keep it going, against Detroit, which is a very beatable game, and Stevenson, on a short week in New York, I feel like they're going to use him quite a lot. I feel like a lot's leaning in Breen's direction. I'm going Breen too,
ChatGPT loves Kevin Breen. They have Kevin locking for back-to-back weeks. And Steve DeVito has Innis as our boom plus upset combo.
He would.
Classic. Cool game. This is a fun game. I'm glad these two guys are both at the top of the standings. The league's better when they're there. Speaking of better, I thought it said DeVito. So Spates ended DeVito's season last week. Can he end DeVito's season this week? Give us the preview of Spates versus DeVito.
You think you really ended Andy's season? Andy,
I don't
after
know. I did it for a fact, and it helped me loop in the 2 games. It's all about the segue, Pete.
I wonder if we asked Andy what he'd say.
Eh,
I don't know, guy.
I don't know, guy. Put some sleeves on, guy. What are you
Guy.
wearing red for? What are you wearing red for all the time, guy?
We got 2 people watching. Maybe one of them's Andy.
How do you know?
It says 2 in the corner.
Oh,
you see that?
I can't see that. No, I don't see that.
Sure, that's not Mike and I.
No, it's people that are watching on YouTube. Okay. Spates is the. You're right, Mike. Don't go too crazy over there. I want you in focus.
I'm
right,
keeping my hands down since you gave me that feedback.
Number 2 team, Spates, is the number 2 scoring team. Number 8 team, DeVito, is number 10. That's last place. DeVito dead last in scoring. Spates has had the easiest schedule over the first 2 weeks. He got me. It was under 100. He got DeVito, scored 110. And now he gets this cupcake Steve DeVito in week 3. So Spates off to a very soft start. So good for you. Injuries on both teams, but Spates able to sub them in. I'm a big believer in vibes. I think the vibes are good on Spates' thing. Spates' team, I think they're very bad in DeVito's world. So I'm going to pick Spates. No superlative, though.
Case battle of athletic quarterbacks. One of them's on the road in Dallas. One of them's on the road the late game Monday night. This is going to come down to that Commanders offense in Cincinnati. 2 guys on Spates' team. Give us your pick, and I like it. I like the 2 running quarterbacks going at it.
Yeah, nice little matchup. Maybe the past versus the future of the league here. Brian Robinson gets a shot this week. Zach Charbonnet gets a shot this week. So some bench performers last week making their way to make up some injuries here. Devontae Smith with a bump.
Is Ken Walker out again? Do we know?
I don't think it's out yet, but
where's Steve?
I would assume that they're going to be. They won last week without him, so I guess they buy themselves another week to let them rest if they need to. So I think one of these teams is equipped to handle injuries, and the other one is not. One of these teams is starting a guy named Steele, who is a white running back in the league. So no one's seen a good, fancy white running back since Mike Allstott. Or who's the Peyton Hillis? Peyton Hillis.
Christian McCaffrey.
Nice. Great analysis.
Best player in fantasy.
Here's another great back-to-back week analysis you got there, Case.
Wow.
I'm locked.
Number 9 seed.
I'll take Spates.
You got the second kid curse. That's what happened. You got the second kid.
The 0-3. The 0-3 kid comes back with a roaring analysis. Spates' team is good. You're seeing 2 rosters.
We haven't seen a good white running back since last year with McCaffrey.
The guy was one of the greatest running backs that ever played.
He was the first pick in every redraft league. Like, guys, that's happened since 1996. What are you talking about, dude?
Kid's been celebrating his last title way too hard. Yeah.
I remember Peyton Hillis, but I can't remember C.J. McCaffrey.
Peyton Hillis. Like, how do you remember these names? You don't remember Christian McCaffrey.
Allstott, Hillis.
The other guy, Toby Gerhardt. Toby Gerhardt was the ultimate white running back.
Toby Gerhardt and Christian McCaffrey.
Dennis loved that dude at Stanford.
He had the elbow pads, big out elbow pads. Toby Gerhardt.
I think Peyton Hillis might have been on my team the year I won. I feel like I had him.
He was, Mike. He was, yes.
Peyton Hillis had some good years, man. He was
made the Madden cover that year. He made the Madden cover because.
R.I.P. Peyton Hillis. I'm taking Spates.
The Madden cover. He was on the Madden cover.
I'm locking Spates.
Oh.
I'm locking Spates. I'm going to boom him again. I've picked Spates to boom. I like Spates' team. I'm going to keep getting on the board here. I like his roster, even though he's going to his bench a bit. He's got some good swings on here. He's my lock and my boom. I'm going back to the well. He's going to have to boom 1 week. I'm just going to keep picking it. I'm not going to. It's like Wordle. You guys do Wordle? I do the same word every day Wordle. One day, my word
What's your
will
word?
be the word.
What's your word?
I don't want to say it.
Wimp.
Stare.
That's a bad one.
No, it's
Why?
a great one.
It's got A-I.
T-A-I-R or S-T-A-R-E?
You go A-I.
AI, no way. I want the E.
Oh, yeah.
I got the E and the A, and I love the word form. I can get an ST at the end, maybe. It works.
I'm not into those.
I mean, I did Wordle for like a quick minute, and then I got out of it. It was too easy.
Whoa.
I didn't use stare either.
What do you use? Beach?
What?
Beach?
Say beach?
What do you use?
Stare.
Cuffs.
Stare.
All right. Well, let's see how this one goes. Do we all pick? ChatGPT took space.
So did DeVito. If we're still
Great.
counting him.
Work on him. Keep him up there.
You gotta make the podcast.
I think he might be done for the season. Speaking of guys who won't be done for the season, here we go, Pete. Game of the week. Two buddies, the podcast OGs. This is the first time we've played against each other, and you have been a higher seed than me since 1997. Can you believe it? I just made that up. That's obviously not true. Pete, give us the preview. You versus me.
All right, Mike, you were 2-0 against me last year. You swept me. However, it was a 68-63 win in week 1, and then a 109-105 win in week 10. So bet the under in this matchup. And take the points, quite frankly, because you're a wimp. So the players that I got that I really like, it's you look at my team, you see the entire recipe. DK, Godwin. We got a double stack with Dortch and McBride going with Kyler. I like Gabe Davis having a revenge game against Buffalo. I like Zamir White against Carolina if we get the gameplay and he can be pushing the ball if they have the lead, hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed. And I'm reading a lot of reports about how Jerry Jeudy is getting a good rapport with Deshaun Watson, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad if you really want a good rapport with Deshaun Watson. I don't think that that's the kind of rapport you want to get. But anyway, I am going to go with myself, and I usually boom in bunches, so I'm going to take myself to boom.
I like your analysis. I do like your team. Zamir White stinks, so don't bank on Zamir White. All right, Case,
you made game. This is to prove it. Like, you got to play well. Or you're
multiple outlandish bad predictions for my game last week. Let me hear you do it again this week. Give me your analysis either way. Your two pod buddies up, so kind of run it down and make a pick.
Going back to the well, Mike, I like Richardson this week. No. In all seriousness, the one thing I know about Pete with the way he sort of rolls the dice and has all these dart throws, it's obviously lower probability that it actually hits, but when it hits, he likes to get really boastful about it, and he feels really good about himself, which usually sets him up for a huge kerplack the next week. So I think he's going to fall flat in his face this week, Mike. So I don't think you're going to need much to get him. I mean, his team is projected to roll out 105 points. That is terrible.
What was that projected to roll out last week?
No one cares. So
98.
I'm taking Mike. All right, in this one, I like James Conner in the Detroit game. I think he's going to get more run this week with the adjustment to what the Cardinals just did with their passing game last week. And I think it's going to come down to James Cook on Monday night, which we've seen in Joe Brady's offense. James Cook is a feature piece of that Buffalo Bills offense. He goes big on Monday for you to win it. No superlatives.
Oh, great.
You're screwed.
I'm screwed. My roster, Pete, I honestly don't know.
I'm taking Mike's my upset.
I'm going to take myself as an upset as well.
That is such a lame upset pick. You guys should both be ashamed of yourselves.
Well, I'm not taking the other one. I'm not taking upset.
6 over 5.
I thought you were the 4 seed. I thought you were the 4 seed. I thought you were the 4 seed.
I'm the 5 seed. You wouldn't know all the way down there. The news hasn't even hit where you're.
Everybody's a
You're in like the Wyoming of standings.
Here's my hope. I have 2 Panthers on my team. It was the dumbest decision I made, keeping both Panthers. I'm hoping that Dalton in the game makes them somewhat passable. And Chuba looks pretty good. The offensive line's pretty good. I think I'm going to keep him in there. I'm a little worried that I have 3 guys, in that Colts-Bears game. And I'm still not set with the bottom of my roster. I think my top guys are better than yours, Pete. And I think Saquon.
I remember hearing this.
Saquon, Jimmy Cook,
play the classic.
Connor as a top 3 are pretty solid. I'll take myself.
I like my guys better than yours. I remember you eating those words.
Why?
You said it like a couple of years. Like every time I beat you twice, and you were like, "I still like my team better than you."
I still did like my team better than yours.
I'll remind you again on Tuesday.
All right, so Wednesday. I won't talk to you on Tuesday.
All right.
ChatGPT did not have that as an upset, but ChatGPT don't take me as an upset. I'll take my upset in a minute. DeVito picked me too. Pete's alone.
Great.
The haters of the A's.
Lloyd, Andy, 4 seed, 10 seed. Let's hear it, Pete.
All right. Lloyd's the 4th team in scoring. Andy's the 9th team in scoring. So they split last year, but it was close. Both teams were, pretty solid when I actually looked at the lineups. These are actually 2 of the teams that I look at where I was like, wow, these teams are actually pretty stacked top to bottom. I don't know if it's just Andy has names, but I don't know. I feel like Lloyd has a very strong team. My voice just cracked. I feel like Lloyd has a very strong team, even though he's underperforming. So with DeVita, I've been pounding that Mahomes, Kelsey stack, Henry. I feel like an idiot. These things aren't hitting, so I'm going to stop pounding those. Larkin needs a quarterback. When you look at Lawrence and you look at Williams over the 2 weeks, each quarterback 2 weeks combined, these guys haven't scored over 15 points. I don't really think that matters, though. I think Larkin's team is strong enough, so I'm going to pick him as the lock.
I don't quite know what Lloyd's team is good. He's got CD.
Very good.
He's got Chase.
Yeah.
He's got Rice. Maybe he hasn't put his full roster in. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is not the roster he's going to play. Goodness gracious. Don't play Trevor Lawrence on Monday night on the road against Buffalo and put Smith Najigba in the lineup. Like, he's just doing things that I'm like, dude, these are basic moves.
All right, so who would you put in at quarterback?
I haven't even looked who's available. Does he only has the 2 of them?
He should have been on the waiver wire more than me this past week.
It's like Sam Darnold. It's like who else?
I would play Darnold over Lawrence.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Justin Fields.
You picked up David Carr.
I'd play
Carr.
I mean, that offense is cooking. I'd play Carr over. I don't know.
I'd
Lawrence,
play Carr
but I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it matters. Who cares?
I play Kirk Cousins over. I play a lot of guys. I would probably make a move. So we talked about this before. This is the perfect person to pick up the phone, call Steve DeVito, and say, "Hey, Steve, I want Lamar." And he can give, dude, in a second. Like, this is the exact trade.
Steve DeVito has an outlandish reason, has a rationale for his players. I don't even know what the word is. Evaluation as an outlandish evaluation of his players. You can't talk.
Yeah, he's going to exhaust all outlets where he tries to make his team better by not trading A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Lamar Jackson, and then he will eventually maybe move to those when he's 0-9.
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret why his team has fallen down like the whatever. He got good after
down like the whatever.
He's gonna go back-to-back Super Bowls, and then he might not win like 5 games this year. It's because he benefited when I went to my Super Bowl because I traded him all my picks and all my players and everything. He rode that for the last couple of years, lost in the Super Bowl, and now his evaluations are ridiculous. No one talks to him. Like, look at these trades.
Wow, dude, he just got dunked on. I'll pick Lloyd. I think you are right though, Pete. Andy's team this week, it might be do or die for him. There's Sunday night, Monday night are 2 very, very key nights in this game, more specifically. Obviously, Andy ride and dies with Kansas City. I just feel like we're not that far away from a game where Mahomes and Kelsey have to be like, hey, let's get our act together a little bit and force feed. Like, they can't go all regular season without him catching any passes. And then you have the other side of it with Lloyd, where you're going to see Drake London and Rashee Rice. And so there's just not a lot of activity Sunday afternoon, but this one on a Sunday, Monday night will be pretty exciting. I'll take Lloyd. He'll be my pick in this game. DeBry?
I got you. I'm gonna take DeVita. I'm gonna take him as my pick this week. I'm just gonna go against the grain a little bit. Yeah, I think that combo is gonna hit, and if it hasn't hit through 2 weeks, I assume they're gonna try to get it right. They're on national primetime television Sunday night. Taylor Swift in the house. Kelsey's going to get going at some point. I'm just going to play the odds this week, and I think he's going to cash in.
You and ChatGPT. ChatGPT has DeVita as
I feel so much better about it now. Yeah.
ChatGPT has DeVita as the upset.
Who did?
Lock. DeVito locked this game.
Oh.
Lock Larkin over DeVito.
Wait, I locked Larkin too. You got that?
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Well, last game, the Basement Bowl, 2 best buddies. Why don't you like Christian? What's the usual joke that you make? Mustard Boy.
I like Christian just fine.
No, I'm just saying, you have random jokes with people. Mustard Boy.
Yeah, COVID draft. He drafted in the closet and he ate pretzels with mustard the whole time.
Okay, that was my next.
He had individual mustard packets.
He was in a dark closet room, sitting there squirting mustard packets on his pretzel and eating them.
I didn't remember the story. That's all right. Give us the preview. Pete. Mustard bowl.
It was a very gross time. All right, so Darian is is 8th in the league in scoring. Casey, although you got a 9 next to your name and standings, you are 5th in the league in scoring, so you are up there. You were the biggest loser 2 weeks in a row, you poor thing. Casey, Christian, he averages 124 points. Casey cleared that both week 1 and week 2, so I think it's going to be an easy one for Casey to cruise through. Week 3 is the 1-year anniversary that Casey dropped 127 last year on the leagues, the highest score on record. So I think
227,
271, right? What did I say?
You said 127.
Dyslexia, man. You get a couple of these surf sides in you. Anyway, it's the week 3 is the 1-year anniversary of Casey's 271 performance.
Hey, same digits. That was a little dyslexic of you.
Dude, there's a lot of numbers in that sentence. I got to do better next week. All right, Casey, you were 2-0 last year against him. I can't get behind any team that is starting 3 tight ends, so I am going with Casey in my upset.
Casey, this is a gruesome one from an injury perspective. There's a bunch of Qs on the board. You've already benched guys. Darian's got bottom of the roster. Any of these injuries that you feel are most important for you and most important for Christian, and who's your pick on the game?
I think the one that's most important for me is Justin Jefferson. Make sure he's okay, because I'm going to need him. High volume, high performance. I don't know what to do at quarterback because I got Stafford who stinks and Herbert's walking around on a limp. So I got a couple things I got to sort of figure out, and I can't play Amari Cooper again. I can't do it. He's so bad. That offense is so bad. Jerome Ford at least gets some touches. I got to get Cooper out of there, so I got to figure out some stuff before Sunday. So this isn't my last roster, but probably looking at quarterback and the Cooper spot to figure some stuff out before we get to the weekend. I'm going to take myself.
What's your panic level if you lose this game?
Great question.
What's the scale? 1 to 10?
Yeah, sure.
10 being like most panic.
10 being like after this, I'm going back to recruiting.
I'm still doing that too, Pete. 8.5.
8.5.
Wow, so you be really panicked. This is a bad one, huh?
Yeah. So when you go in the whole 3 games in our league, it's tough to get out of it because how competitive it is, and we haven't even got to buys yet.
Oh, that's true. These are when you really should be like.
One of the things that I'm worried about looking at this league is that I think there's a couple teams that have stacked up benches, and then there's a lot of teams like myself, DeVito, a couple others that are a couple really good players and then really thin bottom of the rosters, and it feels like everybody's having the same problems, and there's not a ton out there on the free agent market either.
Who do you like? So what team are you looking at that you're saying?
Not your team, Pete.
All right. Well, the more I look,
the trend of the league not performing well to this point, Mike, that you said at the beginning of the pod, it's made for a unique free agent pool and roster situation across the league. There's some couple really good deep teams, and then some other teams that are really relying on a couple players. And some of those guys are now.
Why aren't you naming names?
Well, my team, for example, I don't have much of a bench.
Yeah, your team sucks. The more I look at the rosters,
CJ's got a ton of guys.
Yeah, they do. The more I look at the rosters, I think CJ's deep, I think Innis is deep, and I think Lloyd is deep. Those are the teams that I was like, ooh, they got a pretty deep roster. Kaleli, yours, I don't know, man. I'm looking at that. Higgins might be benched, and then where do you go? You're gonna go to Cooks? You're gonna go to the free agent pool? It gets scary after a while.
I'll be all right. I think I'm in the middle.
Yeah, Innis has a problem like that. He can go to.
I think there's a lot of teams like that. Everyone's going to deal with the same stuff.
Flowers, something like that, where I wouldn't want to,
So, Casey, interesting. If you somehow go 0-3, let's just roll the dice forward. You go 0-3, and DeVita loses. The two of you next week both play at 0-3, and let's assume that DeVita,
I feel better now.
Hold on, though. Let me play the narrative forward. Let's assume DeVita loses because Mahomes and Kelsey don't score a touchdown, and it's week 4. And it's panic, and Mahomes and Kelsey are let's show up. And week 4, they're rolling to score 2 touchdowns on you. I can imagine that.
So I haven't looked that far ahead. So I have DeVito and DeVita my next 2 weeks after this.
No, you have DeVita, then
What happened? You give up this year already?
No.
DeVita, then Lloyd.
Okay. One of those dudes is in a worse roster spot than me, and the other dude panics, so I'll be okay.
Dude, you have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
You have DeVita, then Lloyd, then Space.
That one would be tough. Yeah, I need to get.
Dude, your schedule.
Well, Pete said it. I'm the fifth highest scoring team, and I'm 0-2. Like, I just need to get some sort of consistency, and I'll be okay as long as I'm willing to ride it out and not panic. So I need to get.
You really better get a win. I
need to get Amari Cooper out of my starting lineup, and I need to get somebody that can play some stable quarterback play for me. Then I'll be okay. Like, my big guys showed up this past week. My quarterback did not, and the bottom of my roster stunk.
Yeah, the teams you don't play twice are Pete and Steve.
That hurts. The two suckiest teams in the league. That hurts.
You got to run. You got to run.
Don't talk. Go talk to DeVito about that one.
There's a piece of me that wants to pick DeDarian just for the fun of it, but I actually think Case, your roster's better than his. So maybe you'll trade for a quarterback. I don't know. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. Maybe you can get value for someone who has a deep quarterback room looking to make a move. Who knows? You never know.
I'm on the lookout. I'm on the lookout for it, Mike.
Never know. Never know. I'll take Case as my upset. How about that, Pete? So I don't cop out and pick myself as an upset.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't mean to switch graphics.
I don't care. All right, give me the recaps. We got the picks all done. Put your little screen out there.
Need chat GPT. Which chat's pick for our game?
DeDarian. ChatGPT picked DeDarian.
No, he's picked against me every week, or it's picked against me every week. That's not good.
Yeah, why?
It's right all the time.
On him a he.
I know. I keep on insulting. Who is ChatGPT's boom pick?
ChatGPT's boom pick. Breen.
The Breen's the lock and the boom, huh?
They love Breen. ChatGPT loves Breen.
It's Breed actually writing it. Yeah. All right, you want to do recaps? You don't want to do recaps, do you? You have them right now?
No, yeah. We're good.
All right.
Not yet.
Big week. Week 3 is a fun one. When we join next week, I'm going to try to have some of the historical stats around historically who makes the playoffs. What do we usually see year over year? If you're 0-3, do you have a chance? And hopefully Case isn't in that position, but we'll see how it goes. Pete, as the reigning champion and all of us seeing orange, anything you want to take us out on? I'll let you end the pod tonight.
Oh God, I don't have anything. Hopefully, offense gets better. These 160 booms are a little pathetic. So
I'd like a 200 this week.
Week 3 around this time last year, we started cooking. So we'll see.
We need some more excitement.
Hopefully a lot of points in everyone's future.
Pete, I hope you and I, one of us, scores as much as our matchups combined, which would only be 160. So I think we can get there.
I want another 168 or another 68, 62 game. That would be great.
I can't believe we had 68, 62. Those were better days.
Week 1 podcast host.
There we go, guys. All right, we're done. For Pete, for Steve, sorry, Steve, for Brian, this is Mike. Good luck on week 3, everybody. Go Ones.